You raised your hands. You whispered the words with your whole heart. You asked Allah for something you needed so badly that your voice cracked while you said it. And then, nothing happened. Days passed. Weeks passed. Maybe even longer. And the silence started to feel heavier than the problem itself. If you have ever felt that way, you are not alone. And more importantly, you are not being ignored. There is a quiet truth that many people never learn. And it is this: acceptance does not always look like an answer. Sometimes it looks like nothing at all, at least not yet, and not in the way you expected. Today we are going to walk through 7 hidden signs that your dua may already be working behind the scenes, even when life looks completely unchanged on the surface. Sign 1. An unexplainable sense of calm. You would expect someone still waiting for their prayer to feel restless, anxious, even bitter. But sometimes the opposite happens. A strange peace settles into your chest, almost without warning. The same situation that used to keep you up at night, replaying the same worries again and again, suddenly feels lighter, even though nothing around you has actually changed. You still do not have the answer. The problem is still there, but the weight of it feels different. That peace is not random, and it is not something you talked yourself into. It is one of the quietest, most overlooked signs that something is shifting in your favor, long before you are able to see it with your own eyes. Sign 2. The desire itself starts to fade. This one confuses people, because they think it means their dua failed. They assume that if they truly wanted something, the wanting should stay strong until the day it arrives. But think about it differently. If you asked for something with your whole heart, and slowly, gradually, your attachment to that exact outcome begins to loosen, that is not failure. That is often a redirection happening quietly inside you. It is your heart being prepared, piece by piece, for something that fits your life better than what you originally asked for, even if you cannot picture what that something is yet. Sign 3. Unexpected doors open in directions you never asked about. You prayed for one specific thing, and instead an opportunity shows up somewhere completely different. A conversation you did not plan for. A message from someone you had not spoken to in years. A small opening that, on the surface, seems to have nothing to do with what you asked for. These moments are easy to brush off as coincidence, especially when they do not match the request you made. But for many people, looking back months or years later, these turned out to be the exact path their dua was quietly building, one small door at a time, long before the bigger picture became clear. Sign 4. You are protected from something you never knew was a threat. This is one of the hardest signs to notice in the moment, because protection is invisible by nature. You do not get a notification when a disaster was avoided. You do not see the accident that almost happened, the bad deal that almost went through, or the relationship that almost trapped you in something far worse than what you were dealing with. Sometimes a dua is accepted not by giving you what you asked for, but by quietly removing something you never even knew you needed protection from. The absence of disaster is its own kind of answer, even though it leaves no visible trace. Sign 5. A sudden increase in patience. Not the forced, gritted teeth kind of patience, where you are barely holding it together, but a real, settled ability to wait without falling apart inside. If you notice that you are handling delay differently than you used to, that the same waiting period which once felt unbearable now feels manageable, pay close attention to that shift. Patience like this does not usually appear on its own out of nowhere. It often grows after sincere dua, almost like spiritual strength is being deposited into you little by little while you wait, preparing you to carry whatever comes next. Sign 6. Other people's situations shift in ways connected to yours. Sometimes the answer to your dua is not centered on you directly. It moves through someone else first. A family member softens after years of distance. A friend reaches out at exactly the right moment, almost too perfectly timed to be random. Someone makes a decision, completely unaware of your situation, that ends up helping you in a way they could never have planned. These quiet, almost invisible chains of events, connecting people who do not even know they are part of the answer, are often the fingerprints of an accepted prayer, working in ways far bigger than we can track on our own. Sign 7. Your relationship with prayer itself deepens. You find yourself turning to prayer more often, not because you are desperate, but because you genuinely want to. You start noticing the meaning behind the words, instead of simply repeating them out of habit. Conversations with Allah start to feel less like a formality, and more like something real, something you actually look forward to. This shift, where prayer moves from being a last resort in difficult moments to becoming a steady part of your daily life, is often the clearest evidence that something is happening internally, even if your external circumstances have not caught up to it yet. Here is the deeper lesson behind all 7 signs. Acceptance does not always look like a yes that matches your exact request, word for word. Sometimes it is a yes to something better than what you originally asked for. Sometimes it is patience, instead of immediate relief. Sometimes it is protection from a danger you never even saw coming. And sometimes it is simply growth happening quietly inside you, preparing you for what is coming next, whether that is weeks away or years away. The silence you feel during the waiting is often the most active part of the entire process, happening in a place you cannot see yet, and may not see clearly until much later. So if you have been praying for something and the answer has not arrived the way you expected, do not mistake the wait for rejection. Keep your heart open. Keep noticing the small shifts happening around you and within you. They may be quieter than you imagined, easy to miss if you are not paying attention, but they are rarely as silent as they feel in the moment. There is also something worth remembering about timing itself. We tend to measure our prayers against our own clock, expecting a response within days or weeks, and when that window passes, we assume the answer was no. But timing was never something we were ever promised control over. What feels delayed to us may actually be perfectly placed, arriving exactly when you are ready to receive it, not a moment before. Some of the biggest blessings in a person's life only make sense looking backward. Once enough time has passed to see how every piece, every delay, every quiet season was actually working together. If you are still in the waiting part of your story, that does not mean you have been forgotten. It often means the story is still being written, carefully, in a way that is still unfolding in your favor. Thank you for watching, and may your heart find the patience and clarity it is looking for.